Well, hi, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Ironsworn Starforged. I believe today is episode 5 if we count the opening episode of World Building, which I really don't count, so I'll call this episode 4 if I want to, but the thumbnail might say different. Either way, I'm Turk, and welcome back, my friends. If this is your first episode viewing the show, I would highly suggest you go back and, watch the series, at least starting at episode 2 after World Building, just to see what the heck's going on. And we are back doing this thing right here. I'm excited to get back and talk a little bit about Cassidy Cade's adventure in the world she's going to. Last episode we left off, it was kind of a really good time to stop. It was right there on a cliffhanger. I mean, she just got the hydrogen injector. She has saved Tion, and we're back at our ship. And all Cassidy needs to do is install this thing, and we might be able to get spaceborne and get off of Janus. And Cassidy's been stuck on Janus for 3 years. So this is kind of something that's really, really exciting for her. Yeah. But hey, before we get into the show, I do want to remind you guys, leave a like here on this video to let me know that you did enjoy it or find it entertaining in any way. And the more likes this series gets, the more episodes that I will make sure that I do with your guys' encouragement, and will continue to do this series. I usually do my series in about 5 to 7 episodes. So we're coming up on the back end of Ironsworn Starforged here. But if you do want to see more of Cassidy Cade, make sure to let me know down in the comments below. And if you do have any ideas or thoughts for threads or anything else, do also leave them down there, because I love to check comments and I try to include your guys' ideas as much as I possibly can. That being said, last thing, we do have a drive-through RPG link. If you do want to pick up any kind of Ironsworn or Starforged stuff or TTRPG stuff for yourself, make sure to use our link to help support the show. We really do appreciate it. Cool. Well, I'm Turk. Did I say that? I think I did. Welcome back to One Guy, One Die. Very exciting. I think for those of you guys following along, we might be doing a Shadow Dark campaign solo starting soon, so keep an eye out for that one. And we're also finishing up Morkborg, which is also a really fun one. Those episodes should be going live very soon as well. But for today, we're here for Ironsworn Starforged, and we kind of got a new little table set up. I rearranged my lights. Hopefully things look better. Last episode annoyed me a little bit. I was like, dang, lighting. So hopefully all is well. But I do believe we must do our start our session roll, which always manages to completely guide the whole episode. If you haven't noticed, the begin a session move right here. Yeah, I think the words are more legible now on the camera. Very good stuff. So, begin a session. When you begin a significant session or chapter of play, do all of the following. Identify flags, right? Review or recap what just happened. We just kind of did that. Very good. And set the scene by envisioning your character's current situation and intent. We are with Tion and Failsafe. We're out in front of our cave and like a hidden place where she has kept this ship for all of these years, building it slowly, trying to make it work. The ship that she is calling the Fallen Mercury. And I think she pulls this huge tarp or something off of the top of it, and dust and dirt just goes everywhere. And she grabs up all of her tools to get ready to install the hydrogen injector so we can get the heck off of Janus. That's where our story is starting. And now we roll 1d100. First roll of the day is 97. Unforeseen aid is on the way or within reach. That is, on a roll of 97, that is really good. That's positive. Unforeseen aid. I think we need some words here to help us figure out what this aid is. We could do focus descriptor. Sounds good to me. Focus. 48. Life form. 37. Ensnaring life form. An ensnaring life form. Ensnaring. What do we mean by ensnaring? Does this have something to do with Tion? Does Tion have any friends here? Does Tion have a pet? Maybe Tion has a pet. Does Tion have a pet? Very likely. Let's see here. 64. Hold on. In this system, very likely is 75 or less is yes. So yes, Tion has a pet that is an ensnaring life form. Ensnaring life form. What kind of alien is this? Okay, let's pull out our book of science fiction and see if we can find us a life form in here. This is the great book of random science fiction tables. Yeah, it's cool. I usually play a lot of fantasy and a lot of horror. Science fiction is new for me, so this book has been extremely helpful. So this roll chart here, the closest one I can find, has fictional trade goods and animals. So we're gonna roll. If we get a trade good, we'll roll again. But that's this is where we're at. 85. Scobra natural glass. Nope, not for us. 31. Grapes. Nope. 43. Karth tree bark. That is a 30. That is a 10. Ando fat, I had to roll a few times on that, just so you know. Ando fat-tailed sheep. I love a sheep, a fat-tailed Ando sheep, an alien sheep, a desert sheep that comes to our aid. I think we pull the tarp off of the ship and we're getting ready to get down and do the things, and Tion's feeling kind of sad, and we're like fixing the ship, you know, installing the hydrogen injector, at least doing our best to, and we're like, what's up, Tion? And she's like, well, I really wish I had my pet. And I don't know why I put that book away, because she has named this pet for sure, but I think from the sand we hear footsteps, and I think Cassidy gets scared for a sec. She looks up and then we just hear bah. It's just a sheep, and she goes, oh, super excited. Let's see, we're gonna name the sheep. That is a 59. Monifa. She goes, oh, Monifa, you made it. And Tion's with her little cane, and the sheep's like, bah, bah. She's like super excited to see Tion. She's like, oh, I'm so happy to see you. How'd you know we were here? And she's like ruffling the fur of the sheep, like all super excited. And then I think Cassidy's like, Tion, I didn't agree to bringing an animal on board. She's like, no, Monifa is wonderful. She helps. She's good at healing. Sure, pet the sheep, get a little heal. Totally cool. Okay, now there are the next moves we have to make. And this one is to escape Janus. And I want to make first a gearhead check to install the hydrogen injector. So we're going to flip over to our gearhead here. When you make a move to craft, repair, repurpose, or modify equipment or technology, we get a +1 and we take +1 momentum on a hit. Now we do have 10 momentum currently. So no matter what, I think we're going to be able to succeed on escaping Janus. But first, we are going to roll our wits with the bonuses from Gearhead, so +1, so that's a +1, which makes it a 3, to install the hydrogen injector. And in this situation, I just want to see if it's going to go well, and we're going to be able to get it in today, because anyone who's ever worked on a car knows that sometimes things take time. You got to find extra little pieces, or take this out and put that in. And we know that the Silver Order is on our trail, right? They know that we stole something and we blew up their mine, so we need to get out of here as fast as we can. So I want to know how long this is going to take us to install it. And on a strong hit, I think immediately. On a weak hit, nighttime. And on a miss, like all the way to tomorrow, maybe the next day. So +3, that is a 4. What was that? I can't see. A 4 and a 10. So we got a weak hit here. +3, yeah, it's a weak hit. We get to add another momentum. And with that, one of the reasons I wanted to do that is because we've installed the hydrogen injector, which is going to complete the Escape Janus track. All right, that's good news. And because we finished that, I'm actually going to mark on our Quest's Legacy track, which actually I should have did another mark recently because of Journey to the Mine. So we should have 2 marks on our Quest's Legacy track here. Boom and boom. We still have 3 on our discoveries, and we have 2 on our background vow. So we're making progress. So as Cassidy puts the hydrogen injector into the ship, I think it fires up, like not the engines, but just like whoosh, 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 whoosh. Like you can hear that it's completed and that power has been restored to it. And this ship is a mismatch of multiple different parts of crashes that have happened here on Janus, things that got sucked into orbit and fell down and crashed into the sand. And for 3 years, Cassidy has been collecting these parts, dragging them through the sand back to her place and assembling the fallen Mercury. So multiple parts of this things are different colors. None of the codes or VIN numbers on any of the parts match. Even the engines, I feel like, are a little bit lopsided. Like she knows that one engine's a little bit of a different size than the other one, but she's going to think about that when she does her takeoff. But I think as it finally powers up, it gives her the opportunity to open up the cargo hold, and it comes down like the back, like whoosh, and like steam and dust comes out of it. And on the inside, I think it's fairly empty, and they all walk up this like cargo hold ramp up to the inside, and in there's like a place where you could park a smaller vehicle if we ever get one, to be able to move it around on planets. But for now, all that's in here is like a workbench and a bunch of extra little parts that she has from when she built her skimmer. She had loaded everything in here, and I think Cassidy definitely right away puts her skimmer down on the workbench, and she opens up her arms and looks at everybody, and she's like, well, here it is, the fallen Mercury. And she like taps the inside of the cargo hold, and like some stuff falls off. And Tion's like, are you sure this is safe, Cassidy? She's like, yep, I built it with my own 2 hands over 3 years. Here in the cargo hold, if you wouldn't mind, this is where Minifa's gonna stay. I'd prefer if we had any animals here, we keep them here in the cargo hold. That would be nice. And over time, I want to make some dice rolls just to think about how big the ship is and what necessities it might have. And if I remember right, there was actually a place here in this book that talks about building out your ship. Board your starship. So take the Starship Command Vehicle asset card, which, did we do that? It's been so long. We did do that. Right here. Your armored multi-purposed starship is suited for interstellar and atmospheric flight. Finally, it can comfortably transport several people, has space for cargo, and can carry and launch support vehicles. When you advance, you may spend some experience to equip this vehicle with module assets. Cool. When you finish in a dangerous expedition and score a hit, strengthen our ties with the ship. When you withstand damage, you may roll heart, etc. Okay. Very good. And it has 5 whole thingies. Very good. So I think our starship has a history. And if we remember right, the gravity generator in this thing is still notoriously fickle. So sometimes we might start floating for no reason. And so I think Cassidy might know that a little bit. And that's why a lot of the cargo and stuff on the walls is like tied to the walls and tied down. Like the crates she has in here are tied down to the floor, just in case the gravity generator fails. So I'm imagining in the cargo hold, there's probably like a nice catwalk up through the top. And also my experience with spaceships, and in my imagination, I'm imagining like ships from Firefly. So like the Firefly class ship itself. I'm already kind of imagining that a little bit being like a hunk of junk ship that's just full of heart. But also I was playing a lot of Star Wars Outlaws, so I've kind of got that ship on my mind as well. But I think this whole ship probably has like a captain's quarters where Cassidy's gonna stay. And then I think it also has like a bunk rooms. And there's like 2 bunks in each room, like little doors. So there might be like 4 or 5 bunks in there with a couple little dressers, like little small little areas. Well, the latrine area, you know, there also is probably like a little kitchen. It's not really much, but like seat for 2 people because she wasn't expecting to have more people on the ship. So we might be able to upgrade that later. And I think that like in classic hexagonal style, there's like glass on the front of the ship where the cockpit is, and it's got like 4 seats in it. There we go. But also I think that there might be some things from other ships still inside this place. Like she might have found like some old dressers, some other kinds of stuff that might have some hidden secrets that we don't know about, because they're like from military ships and other kinds of stuff like that. So some things still haven't been fully searched yet. And I think that that's fun because it leaves a layer of mystery for us for later, right? But for now, we must pull up our space map because I wonder how much fuel that we have. Let's roll for fuel. Is what we should do. Should that be a supply roll? That could be a supply roll. 5. Let's roll for fuel. Wow. Yeah, okay. That's a strong hit. So we're completely fueled up. That's good news. So I think what we want to do, we don't know a lot of these other planets yet. All we know of is Aurora and Freya. And we need to decide if we want to go to Aurora for any reason, the satellite planet that's orbiting Janus, where the people of Aurora live. But here's a better question. I think in the ship, there's a hologram map station in the cockpit. Just like a small little stand that has like a spot in it. And I think now that the ship has power, I think one of the first things she's going to do is she's going to put this map, the beacon, into the hologram map. And everyone's standing around, and I think it takes a little bit. But when it finally lights up, we can see for sure there's like a quarter of a map of a galaxy, and it's got like a pathway somewhere, but we can't make out exactly what it is. And so I think we're out here way on the expanse, we have no direction as to where another planet with a beacon would be. So I think going to Aurora doesn't make any sense for our quest. We don't care about the original inhabitants of Janus. We've got no connection to them. All we know is that the Silver Order was really rude to them. That's all we really know. So I think our best bet is to go directly to Freya, because Freya is another planet out here in the expanse, and we might be able to get more information there about maybe where there's another planet that maybe we can go to try to search for beacons, because that's kind of where we're at. We need to find 4 beacons at least. It's kind of in my imagination to be able to find where the astral elves are, find more signs of them. Right now, we got 2 ticks on our background vow. We know nothing. So we're going to go to Freya. And if we remember, Freya is a planet that only has a few people living on it. It is a lawless planet that is all about the environment. Yeah, the few people that do live there, their culture is all about preserving the natural order of the planet. And just, I think, I'm going to even push it further to say the natural order of just things. That's what the people of Freya believe. What kind of people live on Freya? I don't know. But if we can make it there, we can roll on it. But we still haven't even left Janus. Wow. I'm still just role-playing here. She's going to fire up the engines. After she knows that, she's like, okay, we have our next destination. We're headed to Freya. We're going to get the heck off of Janus right now. We're going to make a pit stop in Freya. We're going to get some more fuel, see what's going on, and we're going to head out again. Does that sound good, Tion? And Tion's like, sounds great to me. Let's get the heck out of here. Failsafe is like, sounds great, man. I'm not going to use the voice mod thing because it messed up the last episode bad. So, oh well, we're headed to Freya. So we get to make our first thing here. Well, let's describe us taking off first, I think is what we should do. So she fires up the engines. She pulls like a lever forward and it like steam and dust and the whole thing rattles for a little bit, and Tion seems a little scared, but I think Cassidy looks over at Tion and she's like, don't worry, just wait for it. And then I think after it shakes for a little bit, it settles and she's like, there it is. And then she pushes it even more further and the ship takes off, and I think it has a hard time getting up off of, out of orbit a little bit, but then it finally gets up off the sand and takes off into the sky. It's like if you were watching it from the land, you can see that it was a struggle. And I imagine there are Silver Order people down on the planet. I'm gonna roll for it. Do they see us take off? Do they know? Because this kind of is gonna make us wanted a little bit from them. That's an 87. Yeah, they don't see us. We're totally fine. They have no idea that we left. We're scot-free, baby. Very good. So now that we're off of Janus, she pulls it around into orbit and we're just chilling. And before we do our next actual roll, we are going to swear an iron vow. I gotta know to do these more. Our next iron vow is to find all of the beacons. When you swear upon an iron vow to complete a quest, write down your vow and give it a rank. Then roll plus heart. If you swear this vow to a connection, add +1. If you share a bond, add +2. Nope. So we're rolling plus heart. And I think in this case, it's not going to be like a legendary progress track. But it is going to be formidable. And I'm not going to erase those just yet. There's no reason to erase our past things. It's fun to see where we came from, Yes, but I think since this is in pen, I'm actually going to swap these. If you can't see it, I wrote Journey in the Mine in pen, and then I wrote it in marker the next time we played because I didn't see it. Okay, fine. All the beacons. Formidable. We have one beacon, so I'm going to mark 1 on that. Okay, and we're gonna roll plus heart. That is a 10 and a 9, so I don't even think it matters what we have. On a miss, you must overcome a significant obstacle before you begin your quest. Envision what stands in your way. Well, I mean, we have 0 direction. So she tries. She gets down on her knees and she tries and she swears, and then it just doesn't work, and she goes, I thought this is what I was supposed to do. This doesn't make any sense. Then maybe Tion turns and she's like, Cassidy, we're trying to find these beacons, but we have 0 direction, Cassidy. We have 1. Maybe wait till we get more information. She goes, okay, all right, that's fine. All right, well, now with that being said, I already put the vow down. I'm just going to leave it there, but we're going to roll on it again later to see what happens. For now, we are going to undertake an expedition. So we're going to trailblade a rouse through perilous space, journey over hazardous terrain, or survive a mysterious site. I think we're going to set a course. That's what it is. We're going to follow a known route through perilous space across hazardous terrain or within a mysterious site. We're going to roll plus supply. On a strong hit, you reach your destination and the situation favors you. On a weak hit, you arrive but face a cost. On a miss, you are waylaid by a significant threat. Okay. That is 2 1s, my friend. And we have a 3 plus 5, which is an 8. So it's a complete success here. So we're going to reach our destination and take +1 momentum. We're already at max momentum, so that's fine. We haven't used the momentum thing like at all, but yeah. So we're going to arrive at Freya, and the situation there favors us. So what favors us in this situation? Would it be more beneficial for there to be a station that accepts our ship so we can just refuel up before we want to leave? I think so. So we're just going to land at a space station. I think they're going to call out to us and they're going to be like, that's an unrecognized ship. Please state your name before you prepare to land. And I think Cassidy's going to be like, yeah, this is a brand new ship. Just put it together. It's called the Fallen Mercury. And then I think actually we need some numbers, like for her, like call sign, like, you know, let's roll a bunch of D6s. Here we go. She says, Fallen Mercury, 3114162. He goes, all right, Fallen Mercury, 3114162. Head over to landing bay 7. Prepare to dock. She's like, copy that. Didn't she have, we're supposed to have a call sign, but she didn't have one because she hasn't really like been out in space much yet, so we still don't have a call sign name for her. It's still just Cassidy Cade. So you can see it's blank on there, but we do have a roll chart for call signs, so I don't know, but that's very cool. And she like pulls around to dock bay 7 and the ship like starts to rattle again, and I think the gravity thing like breaks a little bit and stuff floats and lands back down, and Tion's like, oh, and she like lands back down. And I think she steps out and there's going to be someone waiting for her, and I think it's going to be a common species of person for this here planet. What's going on? My USBs just did the thing again. We're good though. That was weird. Okay, it's going to be a common species for this planet. 50-50, are they just humans? That's an 87, that's a no. Okay. So, there's other important things we need to talk about now that we've landed on this planet. But this is as we spoke about before, this is a jungle world. There are only a few people that live here, but it's a humid, rain-soaked planet that keeps its secrets under a thick canopy of vegetation. Yeah. Its name is Freya. The life here is scarce. They're not humans here. But in this book, there isn't any alien roll charts, which I kind of find sad. And also in the great book of random science fiction tables, there's alien names, but there isn't really like descriptors for aliens, right? I wish I had a cool alien roll chart. I may have to look one up real quick. See, if we look here, I was just playing Morkborg earlier today, and there's all kinds of monster roll charts, but anyways, poisonous plants, ships and casinos, technobabble, codes, planet names, ship names, alien names. See, there it is. So we can get a name. That's kind of it. So I guess we'll do that first. Alien names. What do these creatures call themselves? 39. EGLZ. Eagles. Eggles? Eggles. Eggles are an alien race that live here on Freya. City names. Ooh. Oh, that's going to be very handy. Eggles. I know Starforged is like, everything's human, so don't worry about it. But that's just not fun for me. If I'm doing sci-fi, there has to be fantastical creatures and aliens. There just has to be. I mean, there's no other way around it. So, let's roll a descriptor. 68. Natural. Nice. Very good. Why is it natural? For what? Action. 18. Challenge. These aliens have naturally evolved because there is a challenge. A challenge of what? The jungle? They've naturally evolved for the jungle. For why? 68. Protection. Protection from the wildlife. They've naturally evolved for protection from the wildlife in the jungle. Okay. I think that's It's pretty decent. Naturally evolved because of the wildlife in the jungle. So they probably have bigger ears. They've got green skin to match in with the jungle, right? Maybe a little bit scaly. They've got bigger ears, and they probably have sharp claws. They're just kind of like big old lizard looking folk. You know, they've naturally evolved in the jungle to survive. They got big ears, green scaly skin, and some claws. So they can blend into the greenness of the jungle. They can strike with their claws, and they can hear a little bit better. And maybe they open and shut. I think that might be cool. So when they want to be able to hear better, they open it up their ears and they get all like super big, like those kinds of lizards that go like, you know what I'm talking about? Maybe it's like that, but it's their ears. And has Cassidy ever encountered eagles before? 48, yes, but not very much. That's like a slight yes. So she's probably seen one or two. So when she steps out of her ship, she sees this eagle there and she says, "Hello, Cassidy Cade, captain of the fallen Mercury. Should have saved that number, 6114162. And he shakes her hand and she's like, I think this is just like a grunt. You know, he's out here working at the docks. He's just kind of like a grunt guy. And he goes, "Hello, Cassidy Cade. They've been needing fuel today. Can you pay for the fuel?" And Cassidy's like, "Yeah, of course. Can I pay afterwards? We're going planet side, and I'm gonna try to get some money while we're there. Can you fuel us up before we leave? Or how long does that take?" And he's like, "Well, can he fuel her up before we leave? Does he have to do it now? Can he fuel up before we leave?" 81. No, he's like, "Yeah, it takes a while. And probably at least a few hours just to fuel it up. So if you want fuel, you gotta do it now." And she's like, "Okay, well, I promise that when I get back, I will have credits for you, sir. And don't touch anything on the ship. It's very sensitive." And he looks at the ship, and I think like a panel falls off, like a rusted old panel, and falls on the ground. And he goes, "Sensitive, yes, I will not touch it." He goes, "All right, thank you, sir. We'll be back. What was your name?" "Stuart." "My name is Stuart." She's like, "All right, Stuart, I'm Cassidy, captain of the fallen Mercury." He's like, "Yes, I heard you the first time." And I think we go out of this docking area, and I think there's like a big, I mean, it's kind of sparse here, right? So there's definitely not like a lot of people walking around in this space station, like this hub for ships to land. We call it spaceport. It's not in space though. Is this hill spaceport? This hub? Landing port? Travel port. Then she steps out. It's pretty sparse. I think it's just like a desk with another eagle sitting behind the desk. Maybe a woman this time with like a nice bow tie. You know, she's dressed like a, you know, like a woman would, like flight attendant would. And I think she tips her hat to her, and we head to the front door where the doors open. And I think we look out over the jungle of Freya, and I think there's probably dirt roads. I don't think there's like any kind of steel or cobblestone roads, but they're better roads than what she's used to for the past 3 years. And I think she takes that deep breath of just nice, not steaming hot desert air. It's like humid, but it's like nice and cool. There's like a mist coming through from a nearby waterfall, and she's just like, "Oh, it's so good to be off of you, Janus. I can't even." And Tion's like, "Yes, it's pretty sweet." And I think as the doors open, we have options and things that we must do, but we're finally off of Janus. And I think that's where we're just going to leave this episode right there. It's going to be a little short, sweet episode, learning about the ship, stuff like that episode. So hey, if you have some ideas about what might happen here on Freya, let me know down in the comments below. And do please, you know, leave comments, ideas, thoughts, and things. Leave a like on this video if you found it entertaining, because then I'll know to do more episodes. If you want to pick up this book for yourself, Drive-Thru-RPG link. We do have a merch store. You can pick yourself up some merch. If you would like some Last Astral merch on there, but you should let me know, because I'll put it on there. I think there already is like a sticker or something. But anyways, thanks for watching, y'all. Remember to take a seat on the couch and roll initiative just for a little while, and then roll on that, weirdos. I've been Turk. Thanks for watching.